Hey, welcome to Friday Fix It, Friday Night Fix It. So, this is where I'm going to come on a Friday night and answer your questions that you submitted via Instagram, on the Facebook, in the DMs, and come to you with the answers. Answers to your questions, maybe some solutions if you've been struggling with certain things this week. And if you're joining me live, then hashtag I'm here. And if you're joining on the replay, hashtag replay, and pop your questions in the comments. So if there's any questions that I addressed tonight from the list that I've got so far, and there's something else burning question that you have or something you're struggling with, then let me know. All right, so we'll be on here for about 10-15 minutes covering off, like I say, your questions from the week. And that's why I want to call it Friday Fix It. So we come to you for the answers, the problems, the solutions, and all those good things. All right, let's get into it. So first up, one of the questions was, how much cardio should I do? Now, I imagine this question is coming from a place around weight loss and burning fat. So in terms of how much cardio you should do, so let's flip this and look at it from a heart health perspective. So if you think about cardio fitness, being able to walk up the stairs without being out of breath, maybe running for the bus because you can, rather than having to walk for it, and being able to run after your kid up a hill, whatever it looks like. So if we talk about cardio from a heart health perspective, you're looking at the NHS guidelines around 2 half-hour sessions a week. Now that can be fast-paced walking, that can be running, it can be doing a HIIT class, whatever it is in terms of cardio that you enjoy. So please don't think that you have to go and do a run because that's how you're going to get your heart health up, or that's how you're going to burn calories. Any kind of form of cardio is really getting a bit out of breath as you're walking, something that's getting the heart rate up from seated to standing and a little bit more. So you want to be feeling it there. That's really what cardio-based training is about. So like we say, about twice a week, half hours. You don't have to spend hours and hours doing it. 2 times half hours what the NHS normally prescribe. And like say, obviously, the more walking you can do, the better. And if you're someone that does a lot of walking, you're kind of used to walking at a certain pace, but your heart rate's not getting up, then look at trying to go a bit faster on the walk, or maybe doing it as intervals. Like 2 minutes fast, then slow it down for a minute. 2 minutes fast, slow it down for a minute. And then again, there are other classes you can do. So things like, body combat, you got your boxing classes, your body attack, your step, your more aerobics-based classes. And some of these classes are typically 45 minutes. But if you're starting out, don't be afraid to go and join them. Take it on pace, stop, take a recovery, then get back in when you can. Spin is also a great one. So one of the good things about spin, if you are a bit kind of self-conscious about being in a class environment and maybe not being able to do much as other people who have been going regularly, spin class is great because then you can be on your bike, keeping your legs moving and then getting back into it when you can, but always having your legs moving. So you might be a bit less conscious about not being able to do the workout to the same pace as the instructor and other people. So there's definitely lots of options around cardio, but don't use it as a way to kind of burn fat and calories per se. Use it as a way to think about heart health, being able to, like I say, to walk up the stairs without being out of breath, being able to run after the kids, the grandkids, whatever your reason is behind cardio, use it to be around health rather than about it burning calories. And of course, yes, it does burn calories, but don't use that as a main driver, especially if you hate doing it. I hear a lot of clients tell me that they do running. When I ask why, they're like, to burn fat, right? And I'm like, do you enjoy it? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, don't do it then. I know of clients who do enjoy running, but they get a bit self-conscious, or they do the kind of couch to 5K, and then you always get stuck at a certain point on the couch to 5K. So then I'd query, does it still work for you? Take away, if you're not getting beyond a certain point, take away that app because clearly it's not working for you, and look at just going out and enjoying a run because you enjoy it rather than you having to time it for a certain period. Even if you've got a podcast on or some music, just go and run and take it where it feels good for you. We often get wrapped up in times and distances and following an app and a stage and a process. But if you start to get stuck and you feel like the running's a real struggle and you used to enjoy it, then take away those things. All right, that was a lot on cardio. I know I always like to give extra value. Okay, next up, what to eat when at the cinema. Now, I know this is based around the fact that you get lots of different food at the cinema. So it's no longer just the popcorn, the sweets. What else? They normally have hot dog. I think now you get like fish and chips. And I think this person who submitted this question spoke about calamari, some sort of prawn and avocado burger, and what else did they say? Calamari, and there's something prawn as well. So there's lots of different options at cinema now. They're becoming a bit like a mini restaurant. And what I'd say is try and stay away from the highly processed stuff that you don't know what's in it. So if that's like a veggie burger, the chances are you don't know how much salt's in it, how much sugar, what other processed foods in that. So think about protein lead. So what's your protein lead option? So I'd go for your calamari, your prawns, and the hot dog will be highly processed again. But again, if you're not into prawns and calamari, then the hot dog might be the best option for you. So think about protein lead, especially if you're going there not just for a snack, but it's more for a meal because you've not eaten something and that is going to be your dinner. Then think about the quality of what you're having. It'll be tough at cinema, I'm not going to lie, but think protein lead, what's the least processed thing that I can have? And then eat the protein first, and then you can hit up the other snacks and carbs. And obviously, those are going to be salty, right? So cinema wants to sell you more drinks, so it'll be super salty food. So have some water nearby so you're not guzzling down the gallons of the giant vats of fizzy drinks. And even if there's zero, still not good for you, right? Highly processed, and they have artificial sweeteners in them. Some of them might have natural sweeteners, but as I've spoken about before, these things are coming out now. It's not been very good for our gut health. The research is still early, but yeah, really think about what you are fueling your body with and tune into how you feel afterwards. So once you've gone to the cinema, eating in front of the screen, that mindfulness of just like zoning out and actually not realizing how much you're eating, rather than if you weren't staring at the screen, you'd be mindful of how much you're having. Whereas when we're in front of the screen, we just, well, let's face it, sometimes you finish your popcorn before the film even starts, point in case. So just think about what it is you're having and if it's going to make you feel good or if you're going to feel rubbish after it, and look at what your options are. So to summarize, at cinema, look at your protein first. Try to choose the less processed options. Protein first, the less processed, have some water to hand, because the water is going to help with the saltiness of, say, the hot dog or the calamari, whatever it is the cinema has to offer. So think protein first, least processed option if possible, and then water to help with the salty effects, and be cautious that you're not guzzling down loads of fizzy drinks. Alrighty, the next question. What can I eat when I can't stop eating? Now, first up, understand this one. When you feel like you can't get enough, like you've had your breakfast, it was a protein one, you feel like you've had quality food and you've drunk loads of water, so you're not dehydrated, it's not that you've not had protein, but you still feel like you can't get enough. What can you eat? Okay, so this is going to depend on what you enjoy eating and also what's going to hit the taste buds. Now, I say that because when you're craving other foods, it might be actually that you're wanting something quite juicy, like something fruity. So what is it you're fancying to eat? Something fruity, or it might be actually you need a yogurt, something cooling. So tune into what is it you're craving. And if it's a case of you're not really craving anything, but you're just trying lots of different foods, but you can't help but eat, then look at what's happened in the last 72 hours. So is it because you've not slept very well this week? And therefore you're tired. So if you're tired, the brain's going to crave carbs. It's going to say, Julie, keep feeding me, keep going. If you want me to keep going, you're going to have to keep feeding me, give me more and more. And that's where you can never feel like you reach a fill point of anything. And you might be trying the fruits, you might be trying the protein yogurts and feeling like nothing's hitting the spot and you still want more and you're top of your hydration. Then sleep can play a big part in that hunger. So look at your sleep routine. And if you can, get outside, go for a 10-15 minute walk just to get away, change up the environment, get away from the food from the fridge, and really change up that environment. Go for a walk and just tune into, actually, am I hungry? Look at the evidence. What have I had to eat? What have I had to drink? Okay, I'm tired. Is my brain playing little tricks on me? I know my body fueled well. I don't need anything else to eat, and I'm feeling satisfied with what I've had. Okay, so if it's around tiredness, get up, change your environment for 10 to 15 minutes to get away from the craving of wanting more food. If it's around boredom, same thing. What's happening? So tuning in, am I hungry because I'm bored? I used to struggle with this in my corporate role where I would get bored and I'd hit up the sweets, the crisps, anything that was going because I was bored. We have peaks and troughs, as I call it, in the world of projects. And when you're in a trough and you're not being that challenged, it can be a really boring time for you. So you can actually struggle with snacking because you're bored in what you're doing, or it might be the activity you're doing at work isn't that interesting. It doesn't really challenge you. So you end up taking longer and longer to do it because you're expanding time just so you've got that thing to do and you're getting bored and it's not engaging you. And that's when, again, you can be busy with the hand snacking. So in that case, yet again, go for the healthier snacks. There's nuts, go for the nuts, go for the fruits, the protein yogurts. And if that still doesn't work and you still feel like you're quite snacky, then again, go out for a walk. Go out for a walk around the block. Change it up, do something that's going to help lift your environment. And it might even be putting some music on, put some music on in the background to get you through that boredom, that boring task, or whatever it is that's causing you a bit of pain at the moment. So in summary, what can I eat when I can't get enough? Review what is happening. Have you had your protein? Have you had your water? And if you have had both of those, then it's looking at, am I sleep deprived? So therefore my brain is playing tricks, or is it because I'm actually bored of what I'm doing? So I'm just munching on stuff because I'm bored. What is it that's happening? So if you're on top of your protein, you're on top of your water, and you're still hungry, then ways to combat that is change your environment for 10 to 15 minutes, music on, get out for a walk. One of those things just to help change it up. And the other one to watch out for is your hormones. Is it because you're hormonal? And again, your body does need a bit more energy when we're hormonal, but not a huge amount more. So again, it's just tuning into what is the reason that I can't seem to get enough. What is it? And then looking at the solution around it. And like I say, if it's hormonal, if it's sleep deprivation, if it's boredom, then look to see what you can do to change your environment. Get an early night if you can. The boredom factor is a harder one. Get the music on, have a dance around, get outside, change your environment for 10, 15 minutes, and then time lock to get that boring work done as soon as you can. And if it's hormonal, it's all about understanding your patterns and maybe help a bit of dark chocolate. Maybe you're craving some nutrition, some dark chocolate. Hit up a couple of squares of dark chocolate and see if that helps. Alrighty, what's next? What else can I drink except for water? So, okay, because I obviously go on all the time about drinking water, and I done a post yesterday about the benefits with weight loss and drinking water, but I appreciate that everyone could get a bit bored of it. So my next go-to would be around herbal teas. Herbal teas are great because one, they give you the warmth, and you get so many different flavors of herbal teas. So some of my go-tos, but I would say is like a peppermint one. I quite like a peppermint one because it gives a bit of sweetness. I'll be honest, I never used to be into mint tea and thought it was horrible, but now it's my go-to. So if you're fancying something sweet, a peppermint tea is good. Now, what I would say with these teas, never let them go cold. Some of them taste awful when they're cold. And another one I quite like is a lemon and ginger. I quite like a lot of ginger teas, but lemon and ginger I like because obviously I talk a lot and what I do. So I just like the soothing effects, and ginger is also great for digestion. And then other ones I've got is around, don't really like the cinnamon one, I'm not going to lie, a little chai tea, so spice chai. Again, trying to get ones where it's actual proper tea and not syrups. The syrups tend to have a load of sugar in them, and you'll know the difference if you're out and about because you'll have it and it says a chai latte, for example, and it'll taste super sweet, and you might see them making the syrups. So try and go for the pure proper herbs. And other things you can do outside of tea is, you might want to try carbonated water, so fizzy water. It does tend to fill your belly a bit more. It might make you a bit gassy, so see if it works for you. And then look to add different fruits in there just to mix it up a bit. You can go for soft drinks, like be low-calorie soft drinks, but I'd watch out, as I mentioned, about the aspartame, the sweeteners in them, which aren't meant to be good for your gut health. And I'd say with those ones, like if you're really craving it, have it, but try not to make it a habit because quite quickly the habit creeps in. I know myself with soft drinks, if I start having them, then I suddenly start craving them quite quickly and I keep wanting more and more of them. So just be mindful of that. So yeah, herbal teas you can do so much with. And I know they've got ones now for like water infusions, or you can add fresh fruit to your water, cucumber. Just think of natural ways to add flavor. And if you do need to, then there's cordial drinks to help mix it up as well, which I know might be taking you back to being a kid. But go for that too. Mix it up with the cordial. Alrighty. Is cold meat sandwich a bad thing? Yes and no. So I'd say ultimately, I don't like to say any food is bad. Cold meat itself tends to be highly processed. So if you think of your deli meats, they all tend to be highly processed. And if you have an intolerance to sulfates, which is when you might get quite blocked up and feel quite nasally, a lot of the packaged meats have got sulfate as a preservative, and it might actually be an allergen that isn't good for you. I had a client who as soon as she had any deli meats, the next day her nose would be running, she'd be blocked up and feeling bunged up and congested, a little bit like hay fever, but as a result of the sulfates used to preserve the meats. So that's something to watch out for. So I would say cold meats, like I say, highly processed. They wouldn't be my go-to because they don't tend to be very filling either. Yes, you've got protein, but you tend to get ones that are kind of salt, sugar is part of the process. And yes, it's protein, but not a huge amount. So I would opt or tell you to go for a whole chicken breast, for example, or a tin of tuna, something where you're going to get a bit more meat, a bit more bite, rather than a cold meat sandwich. Of course, if that's what you fancy, then go for it. But I would say if you're looking to eat healthier and get more protein in your diet, then try to go for a chicken breast, try to go for tuna, things that are going to give you a bit more bite. And it's going to fill you up. So again, look at are you making the sandwich yourself or are you buying it, and what do the components look like? How much of it's protein, how much is it veg, are there other things in there as a filler? A meal deal sandwich is an exact pure example of a rubbish sandwich. Meal deal sandwiches tend to have like nothing in them, they're not very filling, and typically you need a bag of crisps or something on the side, and a bottle of fizzy pop as a general meal deal option. I know they are doing healthier options now, but tune into how you feel after having your go-to sandwich. Does it satisfy you? Do you get hunger pangs at 2, 3 in the afternoon? How's your energy level? Are you finding that after dinner you're still snacking at night because maybe you're not having enough for lunch, assuming you're having the sandwich for lunch? And really think about how you can add more protein in. And things like, even if you are still wanting to have a cold meat sandwich, think about boiling an egg and popping an egg in there too to give you an extra protein hit. So like anything in life, it depends. Depends on how often you're having it. Depends if you're actually allergic to the sulfates in the packaging, if you're buying a no added salt cold meat, but ultimately it is still a processed product. But then look at what you can do to get a bit more protein in your sandwich through boiled egg, maybe using tuna, a chicken breast. My go-to is literally a bagel, seeded bagel with a poached chicken breast, beetroot, and that is my go-to, and a bit of spicy sauce, and I absolutely love that. And a whole chicken breast is so filling. So look at what you can do to amp up the protein in your sandwich, and then that's going to make the world of difference. And like I say, tune into how you feel after the cold meat. Do you feel yourself getting bunged up and blocked up? Alrighty, I hope that helps. That's all. I know I've gone over time. I promised to stay in 15 minutes. Gone a little over time, but want to give lots of value. So Fix It Friday will be a permanent feature, so keep dropping me your questions during the week. Let me know what you're struggling with, any food myths, anything you're just curious about, nutrition, female health, training wise, and I will come back to you on Fix It Friday, and you can catch me hashtag on the replay, and I look forward to catching you guys next week. Take care. Have a great weekend.